So we are here with
Rob Luca
of
UFO.
Playing his
Thunderbird, 1979 Thunderbird bass.
Okay, Rob, how did you end up in UFO?
Bumblefoot from Guns N' Roses is friends with Vinny, and he recommended me, luckily. Thank you, Ron. His name is Ron. And it just worked out. I was 8+ years ago, and it's worked out really well.
Now, when you came in, you replaced Pete Way, who had some issues.
Well, he had some visa issues.
Yes.
That's why I replaced him.
Was that supposed to be only for time being, or were you already told that you're going to be in a band for good?
No, I think it was definitely supposed to be just for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to last that long. It wasn't presented to me like anything more than he can't get in right now. Can you do this for this tour? That was in 2008, and it's worked out pretty well. I'm very happy to be here still.
How did you transition from almost like a hired hand onto a full member of the band?
Well, I think, you just get to know people, and if certain people are good at being cool and certain people aren't, certain people are easy to get along with. I'm pretty easy to get along with. But I think the most important thing is stylistically, this 70s British rock is really what I grew up on, so that's really my natural style of playing. So it wasn't hard in that regard.
How familiar were you with UFO prior to joining?
Very familiar. I saw them as a kid. I was one of those kids standing on my chair with my fist in the air, so I knew their music very well.
So in many ways, it's a dream come true for you.
Absolutely.
When you started playing with the band, actually on stage, what was that like, especially that first time?
Well, I remember the first show when we were done. Andy said to me, I had just met them. It wasn't an audition process. I went in, we rehearsed 1 or 2 days, and we were on tour. And the first rehearsals when I met them. And I remember after the first show, Andy, because it's a lot of material, and you're just trying to play well and not forget the next part that's coming up. And Andy says to me, he goes, "Rob, you can move around a lot more." It was a strong hint that, to do that. So.
Well, Pete Way was known for a lot of movement.
Absolutely.
In fact, he was not just a player, he was kind of a personality in a way. So how do you go about filling out that void, if it's even fillable?
Yeah, it's not fillable, that's the thing. I just have to be myself, And I think if I did anything that was trying to be like Pete, it would be a mistake, And anything that coincidentally I do that resembles Pete is just natural, It's just actually me, There's certain elements that Pete brought to bass playing and performing that have become standard. He was that important to bass playing, He is that important to bass playing.
How long did it take you before you felt at home in UFO?
I think every year I feel more at home. I played well, early on, but it took years to really. I remember for years that, I feel better this tour than last one. I feel better. Now it's settled in, but I'd say 4 or 5 years, believe it or not, as strange as that may sound.
What was the biggest challenge for you?
It's not, I don't remember challenges. It sounded good very early on. It's just, there's a certain thing where you just feel like you're owning it, your soul is invested in it. So, it's not that I didn't feel comfortable early on, it's just, I felt like I was getting better, or we were getting better as a band, and I can't imagine it being them, because they had been playing the songs for 30 years at that point, and Vinny had been in the band probably at that point 7 years, so I'm sure it was me just feeling more like I owned it.
What about the audiences? Because UFO audience is very dedicated and very demanding. Anything from there?
Well, I think they they gave me a fair chance,
Mhm.
and they give me respect because the simple fact that there are people who want Michael Schenker and Pete Way, but the truth is, it's either this or nothing right now.
True.
You know, Vinnie Moore has given the band a lot of energy and momentum.
And stability.
And I know what it's like to want the original members. You know, it kills me that Bill Ward wasn't playing with Black Sabbath at those last shows, you know, because I saw them when I was a kid. And I'm not saying anyone's wrong for wanting that. I'm just saying certain people want something they can't be. And so, you know, you either have a choice of this or nothing, and that's kind of a choice.
When it comes to playing UFO material, what are some of your favorites and what are some of your challenging songs to...
I think like Only You Can Rock Me. I love that, you know, it's just so melodic and beautiful, and it's something that I think is very classic and legendary. And I think Pete wrote a lot of cool stuff like that, and that's a perfect example of something he created that's just fantastic.
Anything that challenges you when you face?
No, like I said, from the beginning, it's not that it was hard, it's just that you got to do it right, you got to do it genuinely, you have to have the right feel, you have to, you know, it's basically feel, you know.
Personally, as a fan, do you prefer more of the Schenker style material or Paul Chapman? Because those were two very significant eras of the band, and it's kind of almost hard to pick which one was better, but a lot of people stay divided. And some are united, you know, I love them both.
I prefer the Schenker Vinnie Moore era more than the Chapman era, but I saw as a kid the Chapman era.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about the songwriting. But there's a lot of great songs in the Chapman era. I'm just saying, if I had to choose what my favorite eras were, I would say the Vinnie Moore and Schenker eras.
When you have to play some of the new songs, because you always throw in a song or two that is really odd each tour, what are some like challenges all of a sudden, like you playing Let It Rain or you know, things like that came from Mechanics or Wild Willing or No Place to Run?
Well, this time we put in
Long Gone, I think.
Long Gone is one of them. Yep, Long Gone, and I think it's just familiarity. You know, like it's not like the riffs are hard. You know, it's just that it's not second nature. You know, like this is what I'm talking about. Like as the years go on, you get more familiar with things. You're not thinking about what's coming up next, it's so obvious, then you're just thinking about something else. This is a great way to describe it. If you're thinking about what part is coming up next, that is your focus. But if that's something that you don't even have to think about, then you can focus on other things, like performing or interacting or your vocal or whatever, you know? And that's the thing with a new song, like Long Gone, you're thinking about what part is coming up next. It's not like you don't know, but you just don't want to mess it up because you haven't been playing it that long, so you're kind of conscious of, okay, what's next? Oh, remember that part's coming up next. And that's the thing about playing in a band. The less you're doing that, the more you're just in the moment and having a good time. You know?
Now, you're a lot younger than the core members of UFO. In your opinion, what drives them? Because there is consistency in how UFO operates, releasing records, touring, and that's demanding on the body, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's, in my opinion, as you get older, I would think it's hardest on the vocalist and drummer, because they're just so, you know, your voice is something that changes as you get older, and drumming is so physical, you know. But I can't answer what drives them. You'd have to ask them that. I would think it's always been their calling since they were kids, to form a band and become legends.
Now, UFO continues to evolve. They write new material, they release albums. How are you involved in that at this point?
Well, I recorded on their last 2 albums, and I've been writing with the band. I co-wrote 3 songs on a Conspiracy of Stars, so I'm glad to be involved. It's great.
Who is it you enjoy co-writing with the most?
Well, our process is pretty simple. We record ideas on our own and send them to Phil, and Phil picks which ones that he vibes on, the ones that he feels that inspire him to write melodies and lyrics. And so basically, that's the process. And if he likes it, then we move forward into like a rehearsal room situation with that song. So that's kind of how it is between the person who's bringing the song forward and Phil.
Now, we happen to be in Chicago area, and Chicago's been known for great connection between UFO and Chicago crowds. How does that work for the band now? Because, I mean, even one of the greatest live albums comes from Chicago.
Well, we're here at the Arcada, which is how many minutes drive from Chicago?
About an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah.
And we have 2 nights sold out, and it's a cool, good-sized theater. So I think it's still pretty. That's still pretty relevant. That Chicago is just a great market for UFO. Always has been and always will be. And we love it here. We love the fact that they appreciate us.
On the funny side, how many times a tour are you being asked, is Schenker with you?
People still ask if there's still people who don't know. Like they come to the show and I don't know where they've been, in a cave or something, And again, there's those diehards that just refuse to let go of it, But why hope for something that can't be,
The reason I asked that question, because each time I'm in the audience, is Schenker with him? Where have you been?
Yeah. I mean, I never met Michael and I never met Pete,
I met them both, great people, but I accept where the band is at.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, Schenker quit like 4 times, and if you want something, you obviously don't quit it.
True, true. Although I think he sorted himself out. He's playing beautifully. More power to him,
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I don't know him, so I really can't say anything about him.
Now, slowly, if we were to look cyclically, there should be a new album coming up, according to my math.
Yes.
Where are we at with that?
We have a new album coming out in 2017, but it's an album of cover songs that we recorded in Germany.
And
last summer.
Can you
this summer?
Yeah, can you tell me which covers and why those covers were selected?
The only one that anyone's been talking about in the press is a song by the Animals. It's My Life.
Okay.
And other than that, no one has mentioned anything, so I don't think I should. But it's from what I've heard of it, I haven't heard it in a while. It sounds really good.
Who got to pick the covers?
Well, we all threw in our ideas. I'm sure most of the choices were Phil's, because vocals is always the most difficult thing. So it should be the thing most considered.
Yeah.
So, but we all came in with songs. I'm pretty sure that got accepted.
Finally, what would you say is the best defining thing about being in this band for you?
Well, how it makes me feel. I just feel great to be here and playing rock and roll every night is just a dream come true, And luckily I've been doing it for quite a while, and I hope it never ends,
Thank you.